Hello, I am Chastity Bolden. Thank you so much for joining me today. In this video, I am excited to share insights from my action research project, which focuses on a significant issue within our educational landscape: the persistent achievement gap that negatively affects scholars from many different backgrounds. So without further ado, let's dive into this significant topic. Let's talk about the problem that I'm trying to solve. The central issue I intend to tackle is the ongoing achievement gap that continues to impact scholars, specifically those from marginalized and underrepresented communities. Research conducted by the National Center for Education Statistics stressed something very concerning. Scholars from low-income households are markedly less likely to graduate from high school when compared to their more affluent counterparts. So this concerning disparity in educational outcomes not only decreases their academic prospects, but also has far-reaching effects for their future career opportunities and overall economic stability as well. So what are the goals of my action research plan? As I embark on this action research initiative, I have established many specific goals. Well, not many, but just several specific goals that I plan to accomplish. First, I seek to quantitatively analyze the academic performance of scholars both before and after the implementation of targeted instructional approaches. My main focus will be on improving students' test scores and overall grades in core subjects, with a particular emphasis on mathematics and reading comprehension. Because as a person who has been an interventionist for a few years and coached other interventionists, when you look across the board, and even when you look at your own students, most of the biggest gaps are in math and reading comprehension. So that's why I decided to focus on those two subjects. I also aim to assess the effectiveness of the approaches that I implement in reducing the achievement gap. And lastly, I plan to compose strong data that can inform future educational practices and guide policy decisions within our school system. So I'm hoping that my action plan will not only help close the achievement gap now, but also in the future as well. So who would need to be involved in order to make this project effective or a success? Well, for my research project to achieve its desired outcomes, collaboration among a variety of stakeholders is very crucial. I intend to engage classroom teachers, school administrators, and academic support staff, because their contributions would be vital for both the execution and the intervention, and also the collection of very important data. I also plan to actively encourage parents to participate in surveys, because their insights into their children's academic journeys will provide very valuable perspectives as well. So we should all know that anytime you conduct this type of research, you should always think about those predicted challenges, expected challenges, and start trying to think of solutions for them. So although I'm very optimistic, I love research, so I'm always optimistic about anything research, anything education. But with saying that, I fully recognize the challenges that may arise along the way. One substantial obstacle I anticipate, I almost know for a fact, is that some of the teachers will be very resistant to change. Some educators they're old school in so many words. They're just accustomed to teaching traditional, they're just accustomed to teaching the traditional way. And so I've been guilty of that as well. When something new was being introduced, I automatically, just kind of go into my bubble and think I really don't want to do this, because, I have to learn this all over again on top of my workload that I already have. And then, and thinking that basically it's just going to be a lot of extra work, because if you have ever worked in education, it seems every year they add on to the workload, but the salary is not matching. So with my action research project, I plan to organize professional development workshops, that stress the prominence of data-driven decision-making and the extensive benefits of implementing targeted instructional approaches. And I also, another hurdle that I predict is the limited resources available for effective data collection and analysis. So to navigate this challenge, I will leverage existing data management systems within the school to restructure the data collection process so it won't cause too much extra work for teachers. So that's my main concern. I don't want to, cause the teachers to have to do too much extra work, for a project that I'm trying to implement. Now, my project, I'll work all day, but I don't want them doing too much extra work, because then, that's going to cause issues, and then people will become more, teachers will become more resistant to it, and I don't want that. So the proposed solution or intervention that I came up with, I am advocating for the establishment of a structured tutoring program that's specifically designed for scholars who are experiencing academic challenges. It sounds like just like regular intervention in a public school. So this program will focus on critical subject areas, like I said, in mathematics and reading comprehension, so it's just going to focus on areas where the achievement gap is the most pronounced. So at the initiation of the program, scholars will undergo assessments using standardized tests to create a baseline measurement of their academic performance. So basically, we're going to give that test just to see at the beginning to see where they are. And so after implementing the tutoring program for a specific time frame, I say one academic semester is feasible. Scholars will be reassessed to determine any changes in their test scores and overall grades. The tutoring sessions will be thoroughly structured and data-driven, focusing on the individual learning needs of each scholar, while also utilizing the adaptive instructional methods that cater to diverse learning styles. So, this is how I'm going to measure the effectiveness. I will collect quantifiable data at two pivotal moments. The first one is prior to the intervention and following its completion. This data will include a comprehensive analysis of changes in standardized test scores and overall grades documented in the report cards. So, for example, if a student, initially achieves a score of 60 in math before engaging in the tutoring program, I will compare that score to their performance after completing the program to identify any significant improvements. In addition to that, I would also monitor attendance and participation rates to ensure that the scholar is actively engaged in the learning process, because sometimes when you look at grades, and the grades are low, it's not because the student is incapable of, it's not that they can't do it or they have a learning disability. Sometimes it's simply because they're bored, and we need to find a more interesting way to deliver what we're trying to deliver them. And then sometimes it's because the child is simply missing a lot of days of school, which I've encountered that on many occasions, where I'm practically begging the parent to bring the child to school, because when they finally come to school and they test, it's horrible, and that's because they haven't been there. So by applying statistical analysis, I will evaluate whether the observed changes in scores are substantial enough to conclude that the intervention was successful. And so this rigorous data-driven approach will ensure that our conclusions are firmly based on solid evidence. So in closing, effectively addressing the achievement gap requires a focused and quantitative approach that relies on solid data. By implementing a structured tutoring program and carefully measuring the effectiveness through quantitative analysis, we can create a more equitable educational environment for all scholars. Thank you so much.